Just my aesthetic, branding, marketing, entrepreneurship.
Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. We have a repeat guest and candle queen and recent birthday celebrator. Welcome back, Lindsay.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back.
Oh my gosh, you guys will have to bear with us because we had technical difficulties recording the first half of this. So you're getting a little bit of like a forward backward. So the second half of the episode is from the original recording. This half, we're going to recap, redo it so that you guys can get all of the good stuff. So thank you. If things feel out of order, it's not our fault. Technology failed us, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to get right back into it. If you've heard the podcast before and you go all the way back to episode 33, way back January 2021, can you imagine it's been that long ago?
Crazy.
We were just about to head into the Paris launch of your brand, Hotel Lobby Candle. But for anyone who doesn't know it somehow and hasn't found you already on Instagram, tell us what Hotel Lobby Candle is and what's kind of the whole backstory mission statement of this business.
So Hotel Lobby Candle is a luxury home fragrance brand with scents inspired by five-star hotels. So I always have been passionate about luxury travel, and I've also always been passionate about luxury smells. And so I, had experience back in my career, I started as a magazine editor and was able to travel the world. And I was writing about a lot of incredible destinations and incredible properties. And I remember specifically going to several hotels and walking into their lobbies and just being totally blown away by the scent and feeling like there was something about that moment when you step inside the lobby and you smell this incredible fragrance, it just transports you. And I always thought, I want my home to smell like that. Where can I get smells where can I get candles or scents that kind of give you that luxury hotel vibe? And so, I often would go up to the concierge or the front desk or into the boutique and say, can I buy the candle? Where is the scent sold? And I just feel like I was met with a little bit of confusion, or they didn't sell it, or they would say, oh, maybe check the boutique, or here's the brand. And I just thought, even back, I think back to that time, and I thought there seems to be like an opportunity here for a brand that's not associated with one particular hotel. It's really just the idea of the hotel scent and be able to bring that into your home. I remember there were certain places that I think there's some sort of nostalgia associated with it. And there's just like sort of a mood where if you walk into that hotel and you smell it, you just know it just smells like rich. It smells luxurious. And I felt like, why shouldn't people be able to have that in their homes?
This is a brand that's all in the name, of course. I remember when you brought the project to me, you had explained that you'd been kind of tripping up on what the name should or could be. And then you landed on kind of the most obvious option and it stuck. So kind of tell us that experience, or how you knew that it's like, okay, this is go time on this idea.
Well, I remember, I watched hours and hours of TED Talks, and I listened to podcasts. I watched all these things trying to help you come up with an idea for what to call your brand name. And I was like reading psychological studies and alliteration. And one night, I woke up in the middle of the night and it sort of came to me. And it was around the time I was really inspired by Virgil Abloh and what he was doing with Off-White. And I remember at the time he had created like water bottles or other products. And on the product, it was just called water bottle, or it was just called like hairspray, or called sneaker. And it was just so obvious and to the point, but like it honestly worked. And I kind of felt the same way with our brand, Hotel Lobby Candle, because I was trying to come up with all these like fancy, clever, different creating words. And then I realized, like, why wouldn't we just call it what it is? And there was something to me catchy about the name Hotel Lobby Candle. And so it kind of stuck.
And then all the stars of the universe in a weird way aligned. We talked about this on the last episode of how you were able to start this because you did slow down because of the pandemic. And because of the pandemic, when no one could travel, it was this opportunity where we were all craving travel, right? And we were all like really wishing that we could go have that luxury experience. And so when you started, you totally underestimated what the demand was for this product. And we launched with the first two, so Signature and Holiday. Talk to us about your inspiration for the Signature Hotel Lobby Candle and how you knew that was going to be like your first dead ringer scent.
So I wanted the signature scent to be something that was so intoxicating and so luxurious and familiar, but also really unusual. And I wanted it to just encapsulate the entire idea of a luxury hotel experience. And I really feel like we nailed it with that scent. It took a long time to refine and get it to be exactly what we wanted. And I was prepared to hold the launch. I was prepared to not launch at all unless I got the exact scent that we wanted. And I really feel confident that we did. And clearly, obviously, clearly based on our success so far, everyone has seemed to agree.
Absolutely. If you could describe the signature scent in one word for someone who's never smelled it before, what would you pick?
If I
I'm
were to
putting you on the
describe
spot a
our,
little bit.
if I were to describe our signature scent in one word, it would be intoxicating. That's just the way
Absolutely.
I remember the first time I smelled our final fragrance for it. That was the first word that came to mind. And it's the word that everyone else describes it as too.
Yeah, and I think to contrast it from the candles that are existing and on the market, right? This is a candle that I think when I smelled it, I was like, wow, it just smells mature, like, but not old. Like there's this definitely, it gives you that fancy, sophisticated, elevated smell without, like you said, I think the secret sauce in some of the hotel lobby candles is like you can't put your finger on exactly what it is, but you know that it just smells rich, and we love that. So that's signature essentially. Then holiday was the second part of that due to the timing and also knowing that it was going to maybe be people's Christmas, Hanukkah gifts, things like that. Explain the inspiration for the holiday scent and what you thought of in your mind's eye as you were creating it.
For the holiday scent, I wanted to give people a really sophisticated, luxury, wintry, cozy candle. And I had spent time in Aspen just before COVID, and I remember sitting in a lobby and watching the snowfall outside the window, and there was a crackling fireplace and fresh cut Christmas trees all around. And I thought, I want to capture this moment and put it into a candle. And so that's what we did.
Yeah, it's such a classic, clean, burning, clean smelling scent. That's I think the other thing really gender neutral. Like none of these scents really sway one way or the other, which make a lot of husbands and boyfriends love the candles, which we always love reading in the reviews. One of those that does that unexplainably well, and I actually had it out at a dinner party last night and everyone said it was their dead ringer favorite, was the Paris Nuit candle. So Midnight in Paris inspired. As soon as you kind of pitched that idea to me or kind of like threw it out there, I was like, oh, I know exactly what this could look like. And I know you did too, because that's tied to a really specific trip that you went on in Paris. Tell us that story.
So when I was younger and I went to Paris with a girlfriend, and I always, even then, I knew I loved luxury hotels. I loved the whole experience. And I had heard about this hotel called the Hotel Cost, and it was just this sexy, gorgeous, to me, it epitomized everything that was cool about Paris. And I went, and I remember there were people smoking cigarettes and drinking martinis, and there was just like a breeze in the air. And we were sitting in an indoor outdoor restaurant, and there was something about the smell there. I thought, okay, I want to remember this moment. And we didn't end up launching the brand until many, many years later. But I always thought back to that experience and what that hotel smelled like. And I kind of created that in candle form.
Yeah, the dark, kind of mysterious, very French, romantic, but kind of like sexy, sultry vibe. I think we're always trying to find ways to pull those qualities from the scent into like the packaging, the marketing, the social. And I leaned on you for a lot of that description for exactly that trip. Of course, I've been to Paris like a handful of times, but one of my favorite things about that label is kind of like the French detailing. Is there something that stands out to you from that first campaign? That's the first time that we did like a real full photo shoot production. Can you remember what that experience was like, kind of doing that for the first time as like a new brand founder?
I just remember it feeling completely surreal. I felt like I had seen other companies do this before, and I'd never thought that I was the type of person that could be a brand founder or an entrepreneur. And then suddenly that day, we have this beautiful loft space that we're shooting in, and we have props and a photographer and assistants, and we're laying everything out. And it just was totally surreal to me. And I also felt so creatively inspired. I think, especially when you're doing shoots and you're working with a team, it's so important to be working with people that are going to like inspire you and push your envelope further, and you do the same for them, and you kind of can bounce ideas off of each other creatively. And I just felt like the shoot was probably like 6 hours. We could have gone for 12 hours. I just, I didn't want to stop. It was just so fun and so cool being able to like style a product that I created and bring it to life through photos.
The thing that I think is really interesting about this is, unlike jewelry or even makeup or housewares of other types, is that a lot of the experience of the candle is obviously smelling it, which is one of the things we haven't figured out how to translate over the internet, right? So creating those scenes is really important to kind of like set the vibe for each launch. But one of our favorite things to do on like the HQ internal side is share some of our favorite reviews as they come up. And the ones for Nui are still some of the most like colorful and descriptive reviews. So I'm going to read a few of them just because they're too good to not. So the Nui candle, it says, the scent is very sexy and currently my favorite in our bedroom. I'll light it the night before and still walk in the next day and the room will smell like it. Love. And the second one is, can Paris, France live up to this candle? Which
I love that.
I just die.
Wow.
It says the rich aroma of the candle elicits strong memories of a time when we were young and holidaying in Paris without cafe and bar cigarette smoke. An offbeat hotel catering to locals, you hit the notes perfectly. What does it feel like to have people just get it in review form?
Well, first of all, I think it's so mind-boggling that people really take so much time and craft these beautifully written reviews, so eloquent, and just I love reading what other people say about the candles and how they describe the scents, because it's often even different for each person. They smell something different than I smell, and that's kind of what makes candles and fragrances such a beautiful thing. But it really is surreal and very cool to see what other people are saying.
It feels almost as if the hotel lobby candle fans have like a Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants kind of vibe, where you can kind of resonate with someone that you've never met before, just knowing that you both enjoy the same things. And I think that comes through like so much when people say like which candles are their favorite, because each one kind of pulls people differently, but then there's still this underlying like that's my girl kind of feeling. You know what I mean? Like there's that community aspect. How would you describe your like diehard candle fan? Like who is a great fit for this type of product in their house?
It's funny. I feel like our diehard fans have almost created a secret candle society. It's candle super fans. And they are, honestly, there are a lot of people like me, but then there are also so many people from so many different walks of life. I mean, we ship to over 200 countries. We get inquiries, or we get emails from people from New Zealand, Australia, Thailand, Bulgaria, Israel, literally all over the world, people saying, or we see orders, confirmations coming in, and it's just crazy. I'm like, how did they find out about it? Or
literally,
or also like the fact that people are willing to, it's not cheap to send overseas. And it really boggles my mind. But listen, like when you hear there's a good candle, sometimes you gotta splurge.
And it's the idea of like, if you find the thing that you enjoy and it brings you joy, to indulge in those things and not save them for the special occasion or not wait until there's some reason to, but you have really that feeling that can kind of set you in a time and a place. One of the candles that I think does that sticks out for me along the whole collection is the Island candle. And I'm waiting for like the first 80-degree day in San Diego to bust out my Island candle that I still have in the cabinet and be like, it has arrived. Like it is time. I'm in San Diego. I could probably light it year round, but that to me is so seasonal. Explain the inspiration for the Island candle, because I don't think it's a scent that people associate with like the Island candle that you might find in like Target or another candle distributor that's just kind of that breezy curtain look, right? It's something totally different.
So I wanted the Island candle to capture the experience of you are in the ocean, you're walking out, you have sea salt in your hair, and you're drinking a pina colada and you're putting on a fancy sunscreen. And that is the experience that I wanted the Island candle to kind of give people.
Is there some place that comes to mind? Because really of all the candles that we have, of course, like the core collection and the city collection. And the core collection, at least for our own organizational purposes, we've kind of described as being either like a quintessential hotel experience or like a quintessential vacation experience. So like core collection, we're talking signature, island, spa, linen, and then cities, self-explanatory, inspired by an exact city. So when you're thinking of the island candle, are there island vacations or island destinations that you kind of recalled to the top of your memory to bring that scent forward?
Yeah, I definitely spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, and I think a lot of the islands in the Caribbean have inspired that fragrance. I love vanilla and coconut and jasmine and sandalwood, and all of those notes are incorporated into the candle. And I feel like I've experienced and smelled some of those scents in different islands that I visited, the Bahamas or Mystique or St. Bart's or other. So there's so many beautiful places that would kind of are in the back of my mind and have helped to inspire that candle.
The review for this one is also lovely. This one says, "This is the GOAT of all candles. I've become a loyal HLC customer. These are the only candles I will ever buy. I love coconut scented candles, and this is coconut like you've never experienced before. Sweet, but not overpowering. Fresh, but makes you feel like you're on an island. I burn it at work, and I always get compliments on how good my office smells."
That's so cool. I love that. I don't think I've heard that one before. And I think also it touches on a point that is really important to me. I am not a sweet smelling fragrance person.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it kind of can be nauseating and a little bit too, I don't know, cheap maybe. And to me, if we're going to put an element of something like a coconut or a vanilla into the candle, it needs to be balanced by something a little bit more savory, like a sandalwood or a jasmine or something that's just adds an element like a floral or a woody note or a musky note to sort of balance out the sweetness. And so I think that's like what makes our candles a little bit different than some others.
Yeah, the best is when we get the actual scent note descriptions to like start working them into the socials. And I think Miami is the one that has the most. I mean, we had to even pare down all of the scents that were in the original description of Miami because it's so complex and there's so many things, but somehow it all works together. Miami is where you currently are, and it's also your part-time residence. What, besides just living there and being there, perfectly encapsulates the Miami candle for you?
To me, I think of Miami. When I think of Miami, I think of white, clean, fresh, a little bit floral, a little bit citrusy, and just super sexy. And that to me is what the Miami candle smells like. It has bergamot and vetiver and white florals, and it's so different than any of our other fragrances. It is my personal favorite. It's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to ever choose a favorite, but if someone were to say like gun to your head, pick one, it would be for me Miami. To me, Miami is just great for year round. It's just fresh enough that you can have it lit in any room, any time of year. And just like any situation, it's beautiful.
Also a favorite of Brian Kelly, the points guy.
Oh yeah.
Miami. And the Miami review that like stopped us in our tracks was someone saying that this candle makes me want to put on a mini skirt and stay out way past my bedtime.
Yes, I love that. It's like so perfect.
The thing about the boxes and the candles, I think also plays into the brand like allure, so to speak. A lot of our original conversations about the brand, I feel like we talked about wanting to strike that balance between a really minimal, really beautiful vessel and then a box that tells a story, because we wanted these boxes to be something that people keep, just like you keep like your luxury shoe boxes, or if you get a handbag and you're like, oh, the box is like part of the experience. Where was your head at with kind of the Miami box? Because that's one of the more detailed and complicated box designs that we worked on together.
I definitely was inspired by Versace and sort of these like silk printed scarves and just very like glitz and glam and over the top and hot pinks and yellows and just something that's show stopping and attention getting, because very much that is the essence of Miami. And you obviously nailed it with that print we have. It's so cool. And there's little hidden gems like built into the design, and I think it was just like so perfect. It was exactly what I wanted.
It was definitely fun to like dive into the archives and like look up those like late 90s, early 2000s Versace mansion silk sets, like, and really pull those through in the design inspiration, which again, for someone who hasn't smelled the candle or they're seeing a launch and they're trying to guess where we're taking them, right? We always try to like add those Easter eggs, which pull people along. The one that I feel like came together so seamlessly that people might have been able to guess what it could smell like was spa. Because if you've been to a spa and you've been to a good hotel spa, you know that smell hits you in the face as soon as you walk in the door. So the inspiration was definitely there. But talk to us about your approach for the spa candle.
I wanted spa to smell like the moment where you just open your eyes after a massage and there's fresh eucalyptus and lemongrass and lavender and water mint like around you. And you just feel rejuvenated and relaxed and so zen. And I really think that the candle gives that experience to people. I remember when we first launched, I said, this is definitely like a candle you would want to have lit in your bathroom for sure. But I also think it's a candle you should have sitting next to you at your desk while you're working, because there's just something very calming about it. It's kind of like an aromatherapy experience.
Mm-hmm. And also reviews for that one, I feel like are just so consistent. They're so consistent of like, this is not what I was expecting, but also exactly what I needed. And I think that balance works really nicely. We also had so much fun with the imagery for that one. I think that also people, the more hotel lobby candles they buy, the more they realize that there's some scents that pair up really nicely with each other or are kind of like sisters of each other, complements of each other. Do you have any fun combinations of scents where you're like, okay, I have this one in my room and this one in my bathroom and this one in the kitchen, or this is the one I love for guests? What is your go-to like gifting strategy or pairing strategy with the candles?
I love Signature and Miami together. I feel like Signature brings a little bit more like depth and woodiness, and then Miami just brings like a bright freshness. I would say if you like deeper, sultry candles, New York and Paris, I mean, there's nothing better than that combination. That's like a very just sensual, beautiful. It's unisex. I think if you have men around who don't typically like fragrances, there is no chance they're going to not love either New York or Miami. And I think they go beautifully together.
The candle that came from the trio. So when we first launched with the Parisian collection, this is January 2021, we have our Paris Nuit candle. And then there were 3 little baby ones that were kind of more of a experiment. Would you say so?
Yeah, we kind of just wanted to test and see what people responded to. It was the first and only time we'd ever done like a smaller format candle. And it was great because there definitely was one runaway hit, and then we ended up turning that into a full size.
So the linen candle launch was not until 2022. And that was one that I feel like was another great lesson in like give the people what they want. We had such high demand for that scent in a full size to the point where we were like screenshotting the DMs and the comments, like, can I please get a bigger one? Just so we could work it into the marketing. But the linen candle, again, is not one of those like straight off the shelf. Like you think it's going to be one note, and it's so much more complex and so much more interesting. Talk to us about the inspiration for linen and what makes it different than that like dryer sheet smell that we dislike,
Yeah, so I've always loved like a fresh, clean scent, and I wanted, and this is what we do with all of our candles, but I really wanted to give people something that was different from any fresh, clean linen candle they'd ever smelled before. So we actually added a little bit of spice and peppery notes to it. So there's pink pepper in it. And people always say, oh, it smells so clean and fresh, but also a little spicy. And I think that's why it resonates with people so much. There's a lot of people who will only buy the linen candle. I have a friend who just moved into a new house and she bought like 6 of them. And she said, this is the scent of my home. And to me, this smells like walking into a fancy mansion. Like it smells really luxurious and elevated and sophisticated, and that, made me happy because that's exactly what we were trying to do with that scent.
That friend must have written a review because that's literally almost verbatim what's on the website. It says, this is the best scent ever. Linen is truly the most magical candle scent I've ever owned. I've never smelled anything like it. An influencer I follow said, you can't smell this candle and not be happy. She was so right. I buy this for every girlfriend every time I get the chance. I need it to come back in stock ASAP so I can stock up again.
Oh, I love that. That definitely wasn't her, but I love that someone said that. And I just love when people like kind of spread the gospel of our brand. I think so much of we've never done like ads or anything, and I think so much of the success for us has been through word of mouth and people telling their friends about it and gifting them to friends, or people smelling it at someone else's home. And of course, like influencers who have been amazing at showing our brand the love. And it's very cool to hear when people just like tell other people about it, like it's their best kept secret.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on the first time I had you on the podcast also, is like the concept of influencer has kind of always existed. And there's always been that person in your friend group that you just trust their recommendations because they've never led you astray.
They're like, no,
And
the person knows all the good shit, you know?
Yeah. And there is something really fun about being that person that's like, oh, I've got the plug on this like amazing candle brand and I want you to be a part of it, because it just shows that person that you're giving it to that like you care about what they value and you guys value the same things, right? It's that kind of mutual understanding of like, we enjoy this like little luxury and this little like happiness. And it's so fun to see people like come into the fold and get excited about the brand. And yeah, like use it to like scent their life. It's quite fun.
Love it.
Quite fun. Okay. One of the reactions we get a lot in reviews and on social media is the cold throw of the candles. The fact that you can smell it as soon as you even open the box, and sometimes before you open the box. Sometimes the UPS guy is dropping off the box and is like, what is in here? Because I can smell it. Can you explain the difference between cold throw and then the lit burn of a candle?
Yeah, so every candle has a cold throw and a warm throw. And the cold throw is literally when the candle is cold and unlit, what it smells like and sort of how powerful that fragrance is. And then the warm throw is what it smells like once it's lit. And some candles have a stronger cold, some have a stronger warm. I wanted them to both be equally potent because to me, I love the feeling of breezing by your nightstand or breezing past your desk chair or your office and getting a whiff of that candle even when it's not lit. To me, that was really important. And so that's why we kind of really worked hard with our team to create a scent that was equally strong whether or not the candle is lit.
And that's across all the candles as well. There's a really strong fragrance load, correct? I learned so much about candles working with you guys, like things I never thought in a million years I would learn. But talk to us about, let's hit on those qualities that you knew you couldn't compromise on, like the quality of the wax, the quality of the wick, the quality of the fragrances, and what elevates Hotel Lobby Candle above a lot of other candle brands, or what people describe as it being so different from other candle brands. What were those choices that you had to make as the business owner to make sure that everything was up to par?
So I am the type that doesn't want to compromise on anything when it comes to the highest quality of ingredients and just the highest quality experience. I would rather make less money and create a higher quality product than try to cut corners. And because that's just the type of consumer that I am too. And I value and will always give like my customer loyalty to a brand that I feel gives me that amazing product experience. For us, the fragrance load was kind of not even a question. Most candles can range anywhere from like a 4 or 6% fragrance load to 10%. 10% means it has like the highest possible concentration of your fragrance that the wax can hold without like falling apart. And we really wanted, it's more expensive that way because it's higher concentration, and the fragrance perfume oils themselves are what makes a candle costly. So for me, I said 10%. I didn't even want to smell what an 8% smelled like. Of course, we would get samples of it, but always for me, it's 10%. It's important for me to, when you're buying a luxury candle, you need to be able to smell it, and that smell really needs to linger. So 10% fragrance load for all of our candles, that will never change. We also have 100% soy wax. That was another thing that was really important to us. Soy wax is tricky to work with. It's why a lot of the largest candle brands choose to go with something cheaper, like paraffin. But for us, we feel soy burns cleaner. We hear feedback all the time from people who get headaches from every other candle brand except for ours. People who said, I thought I swore off candles for my entire life. I didn't think I could ever burn a candle in my home again. And then I decided to try yours, and they're the only ones that don't give me headaches. So we really feel that that is because of the ingredients that we use, them being so high quality, and also because of the soy wax. You also are not going to really get like, you'll hear these crazy stories of people who have been burning cheaper paraffin candles in their homes and for years, and then they'll look up on the ceiling and see like rings of black smoke that you're never going to experience with soy. So it is rare to find. You would be hard pressed to find a luxury candle brand that does 100% soy, because it is challenging and it is more expensive. But to us, we feel like it's the way of the future, and we think that eventually a lot of other luxury candle brands will be going in that direction. So we kind of wanted to get on board first.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Even my sister, she's going to kill me for telling the story, but she was like, had her anthropology candle in her room, and she had been working and had it lit for a few hours, and then went to go blow her nose. And she said it was black in the tissue. She's like, It was disgusting. She's like, I'm throwing this away immediately. And I was like, yeah, you should.
I hear that from people all the time, and it's kind of disturbing. But it's also why it's so important for us to like stay true to, having a clean burning product.
Of course. So that's kind of the thing. Again, like these are the non-negotiables for Hotel Lobby Candle. Another non-negotiable was creating candles inspired by your two hometowns, I'll say. You've got New York, you've got Miami. We launched Miami first, even though I think we had thought of launching New York before Miami, right? But we couldn't quite nail it down.
Yeah, New York for me was always going to be the biggest challenge and the biggest, I guess, the scariest candle to create, because I've spent so much of my life there. We live there, and all of our, a large portion of our customer base and my followers are based in New York. And I also think New Yorkers in general are very particular about what represents their hometown. So I tried to put that off. Even you'll probably remember we were debating or not whether to do it this year. And I was like, I don't think we're ready. I think we need one more year. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it this year. I was just so scared. But I feel like I'm so happy that we nailed it, because we went through, we had to push back our launch because I didn't feel like we'd yet landed the exact fragrance we needed. So I was like, I would rather push the launch and wait until we had our perfect fragrance. And so that's what we did. And it ended up being a total home run. It is always sold out. I think it's probably sold out right now. But I think it's kind of has been our most successful launch to date.
Absolutely. Miami Candle. I feel like Miami is like the younger sister of Signature. Like there's some similar notes between the two. Like Signature feels very refined and upscale and luxurious. And Miami is that one of the reviews had said like, this makes me want to put on a mini skirt and go dancing. And that's totally
it's a party candle.
That's totally it. Even one of these reviews says, OMG, it's heavenly. It really smells like Miami. Even my husband, a Miami frequent, said, wow, that really smells like Miami. Perfect blend of warm and sweet. I love how many men we've turned on to Hotel Lobby Candle. Let's talk about that.
It's a kind of the running joke whenever we get reviews or people slide into my DMs and they're like, my husband hates candles, but he loves yours. Or I bought some candles for myself and somehow they keep ending up on my husband's desk at work because he's taking them from me and burning them for himself. And I kind of love that because I feel like candles shouldn't be associated with a gender or sexuality. It's sort of like, people of all, types love them. And if they make you happy, and I think a lot of times, particularly like the women that reach out to me, are just happy that, their partner can be on board with something that they're spending their money on and they have in the home. And so we found that a lot too during the pop-up, which was really cool.
Another fun thing about the core collection and city collection, which is how we've designated out the two types of candles that we create, is your ability to kind of tie that to an experience or gift it as part of an experience. I think when we think of these like luxury vacations or these big milestones as being like an anniversary or a birthday or a bridal shower, and to have the candle that smells like the place that you went to that sparks that memory for you is really important. But also we joke internally with Hotel Lobby Candle, like, no, just light the candle. Like indulge in those everyday luxuries. Like, don't save it for a special occasion. How do you feel like you approach that in your life, or how do you encourage people to kind of indulge in those little moments?
So I have historically always been the type of person that will save my good things. I was the person who had an entire closet full of unlit diptyque candles because I was just saving them for a special occasion. And like the occasion, it never comes, or nothing ever, there's too much buildup around that moment or that experience that you're saving it for. And like, what is the point of spending your money on something if you're not going to actually enjoy it? And so I feel like what I try to encourage people to, to consume our candles is, I always say, you don't need a reason. A regular Wednesday afternoon is a reason, because it's going to make you feel good. Sometimes, even just today, before this podcast, I put on perfume. I'm not seeing anyone today. I'm literally sitting in front of a computer screen, but it makes me feel good. It makes me happy, and I love the scent. And so I want everyone to sort of adapt that mentality and remember that you don't need to wait for a special moment to treat yourself to like something beautiful.
Absolutely. By the time we're recording this, we are just wrapped on holiday 2022, but we did launch a whole holiday campaign in 2021 that introduced 2 new scents in addition to the holiday candle, which were Chalet and Cabin. Talk to us about the inspiration for those and kind of how we did such a 180, like, right-hand turn away from Miami and went right into holiday, because that kind of was like, woo, we got to really switch things up here.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep things interesting and add a few new additions to the holiday collection. And so Matt and I took this trip to a property called The Point in Saranac Lake in New York. And we went, it was last year, I guess, can't remember, maybe 2021 or so, maybe 2020. And we were immediately just enamored with this hotel. And we found that the one thing that made it really unique is that there was wood burning fireplaces in like all the cottages, and there was campfires and bonfires just all throughout the property. And so you would walk through and just smell the smoke and just the richness of the burning wood. And we were like, that's a candle for sure. We want to kind of create that moment and put it into a candle. So that was what we did with Cabin. And then for Chalet, I actually had asked my audience what was a scent that they loved and associated with holiday that we didn't already have. And by far, people were so invested into like a spicy cinnamon scent. And it's so totally not what I would have expected. But I was like, okay, now it's my mission to kind of find inspiration for creating like a spiced cinnamon candle. And so that was what we did with Chalet. I sort of picture it to be like this gorgeous ski chalet, you're draped in faux fur and you're drinking like a hot toddy, and there's just this like spiciness in the air, and that's sort of the inspiration behind Chalet.
I think the Chalet candle was such a good lesson in give the people what they want, because I think it was one of our like top performing candles for that holiday launch was again, because you had this level of like taste and this expectation for the brand that everything was going to be elevated and chic, to then take something that is the kind of candle that if you'd walk into like a Target and sniff one, it's the kind that would like turn your stomach because it's like so sweet. And this doesn't do that at all. And one of the reviews, I think is the one that you're kind of nodding to here, was someone who said it smells like Ralph Lauren's personal ski chalet, which is such a great description.
I mean, I hadn't articulated that ever, but that was totally how I envisioned it to smell in my mind. And I'm really glad that resonated.
This review is too good. I have to read the rest of it. It's because the hyperbole, not even hyperbole, but the description here, like I can just hear this person talking in like a Devil Wears Prada kind of tone, because the review goes like this: truly amazing. Biggest mistake, just buying one. Woke up and immediately thought about lighting it. I broke all candle rules and burned that thing nonstop because I could not smell the deliciously subtle, sexy scent. Not overpowering, perfect balance of scents. I never want to light another holiday candle ever again. And then it goes on to say, I will ration this candle to 1 per holiday season. I will buy 20 so that when my kids grow up and smell this scent, they're immediately transported to Christmas time at my house. It's that good.
Oh my God. Okay. I have the hair standing up on my arms. I don't think I've ever seen that review. And number one, if that person who wrote that is listening to this, send me a DM because I would like to thank you personally. But also it is still mind blowing to me that people take time to not only write a review and just say, love the candle, I'll buy another one, but to be so eloquent in their description of it and so creative. And it really is it is such a testament to like the hard work that we all do. And it makes me really happy. That's a pretty amazing review. I don't think I've seen that one.
That's a good one. I think the part that elevates this as well is how important the concierge experience is to Hotel Lobby Candle, which we haven't touched on yet. But I think that the reason people are so inclined to write really fabulous reviews is for that audience community growth kind of thing. Like, ooh, maybe I'll get their attention with this one. And there's kind of this like fun, I don't want to say competitiveness, but there's this, people really pour their personalities into anytime they interact with the brand, whether that's on stories or TikTok or reels or anything, the reviews, like it's really fun to see just number one, how invested everyone is, but how the community and the audience, like it's people that are like, we see each other. Like we like the same things. Like you're my kind of girl. Like there's that kind of energy to it. And I think that gets really, again, elevated by the concierge. So explain the concierge concept and how that part became integral to the Hotel Lobby Candle brand.
Yeah. So for me, even just as a consumer, incredible customer service has always been of the utmost importance. And I always say, even at a restaurant, I would forgive a meal that was subpar. If the service was so incredible, I would still go back and give it another chance. And I think often with brands and when you're buying a product, and especially if it's a luxury product, you want to feel like you are valued as a customer. And there are certain times where I've had experiences with companies or buying things where they just do something like a little thoughtful something that makes you feel special. And I've especially had that experience at luxury hotels. And and my whole concept behind this brand is to make every single one of our customers feel like they're having the experience of staying at a 5-star hotel by being a customer of Hotel Lobby Candle. And part of that experience is having a concierge service. And so we had said from the beginning, we thought, well, we don't want to call it like a help desk or like customer service. So we call it the concierge. And it is a live person. There's no automated response that you get. We are responding virtually 24 hours a day. And if someone's package gets lost or their candle arrived broken or their kid accidentally knocked the candle over and smashed it, we really pride ourselves on treating it like a human experience and giving the person the type of service that you should expect from a 5-star hotel. So if that means someone reaches out and said that their, candle arrived late for a birthday, or can they have it rushed because they need it for a big event or something that they're hosting, we will do whatever it takes to try to make it happen for people. And it always, and like, even sometimes, for example, if the concierge tells me that there is an incredible review written about one of our candles, I will share it on my social and say, if this is you, send me an email. I want to send you a candle, or I want to do something special for you. Occasionally we'll have people who will place a big order, or they will write a gift note that says, congratulations on your new home. Hope this reminds you of our trip to Paris. And we'll be like, oh, we'll send them a little extra. We'll send them a wick trimmer, just like a gift. And we'll say, thanks so much for thinking of us, for your new friend or for a gift. We just try to do special little things that are going to surprise people and make them feel like they're really part of our family and part of our brand.
I think this is what's also going to give you the lifeline beyond the fad of influencer brands, because I think there are a lot of influencer brands that don't have that kind of attention to detail or don't have that really, really strong tie to, no, this is a non-negotiable. This has to happen this way. And they can get skewered for it online. And you and I have messaged back and forth and been like, uh-oh, did you see this one? Another one bites the dust, And it can be really scary because you're kind of under the microscope in a lot of ways. But I think we're getting to the point where Hotel Lobby Candle can stand on its own feet. Like there's people that have definitely bought the candle that didn't follow you. And what a cool, transition that is for it being its own entity.
Yeah, that was really important for me. I mean, I think that part of who knows what's going to happen with the influencer space. I personally think there is a very long lifeline ahead, and I think it's only going to continue growing. But if I at one time decide that maybe I don't want to do this anymore, or I want to, try something else, or I just feel like I am proud to have built a brand that can exist without me being the face of it or my name being on it. And I want the brand to stand alone as a brand that people hear about and buy and support and actually have no idea who I am. That makes me the happiest.
Exactly. One of the candle scents that I really feel like is a quintessential hotel experience, especially a 5-star hotel, is spa. Like, talk about a slam dunk. That one came together, I feel like, so quick. We knew exactly what it should smell like, what it should look like, what the photo shoot was going to be. Talk to us about the inspiration there, besides it being like all in the name, and how you landed on that scent.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to visit some incredible hotel spas over the years. And I always think about, often when you walk in, there is just this scent wafting throughout the air. And sometimes it's like lemongrass or eucalyptus, and it's just like, or lavender. It's really fresh and calming. And even after you get a massage and you get off the table and you smell your skin afterwards, that smell. And I wanted to create that in a candle. And so I'm really drawn to fresh, like eucalyptus, water mint, lemongrass scents. And I felt like I wanted this to be a candle that people lit in their bathrooms, and it reminded them of being at a hotel spa. So that is kind of where the inspiration for spa came from.
Slam dunk, another classic part of the core collection. I feel like spa and linen really complement each other. They kind of they're starting to curate that vibe. And I'm sure you're similar to me. There's candles that really are specific to one room. Like, I like spa in the bathroom, linen in the bedroom, like signature, or even like a nuit or a cabin, like in the living spaces, because they're a little bit more robust. But spa, fabulous. Another really fun one that we did last year that we will be bringing back was Pride. Talk to us about the Pride candle and how that vision came together.
So for me, the Pride candle was such a passion project, and I am a lifelong ally of the LGBTQ plus community, and I really wanted to create a candle that celebrated just like all the incredible LGBTQ plus people in my life, and something that also had a charitable component. And so we partnered with an amazing organization called Family Equality, and we're able to donate a portion of each candle sold to them. And for me, I wanted it to be a celebration of Pride. And so it is just like a beautiful holographic, really so different and eye-catching than any of our other candles. And the scent is also really different. It's like so fresh and fruity and citrusy and fun, and it smells like a party in the summer. And we worked with some incredible LGBTQ plus creators to kind of spread the word about the candle, and it was just like a really special, cool experience.
And also, just like you said, something that sticks out, catches your eye. The way that it looks is the way that it smells. Like, it's so fun and bright and colorful, but we knew we didn't want to be like Crayon Box Rainbow. So it's still elevated. It still has that luxury vibe. And then to bring it all the way back to the beginning, again, we've done so many candles by now. And then New York being the big, I feel like this was like a big party moment, like momentous occasion to launch the New York candle, and the imagery we had so much fun with. And I'm actually going to start you off with this review because this one is so good. This one says, I almost got dumped over the New York candle, LOL. My girlfriend loves the candle and so do I. I ordered the New York candle right when it came out and then left for a work trip. She opened it, smelled it, and texted me if she could burn it. Knowing that it was sold out, I told her no. I honestly think our relationship may never recover, but I have the New York candle to hoard and burn in my office, LOL.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love it. So that, first of all, that's such a New Yorker, I feel like, who wrote that. I mean, totally savage, like willing to start a fight over a candle.
Over a candle. Yeah. And the excitement around that launch was nuts. Like, I think that we approached it in such a way, again, that was each one has its own like different immersive look and feel. And because it just was like that Frank Sinatra, dun, 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 like it just felt grand. Is that how you felt when we were working on it?
Yeah, and I also it felt like a mood. It felt a lot of our other candles have like a lightness and brightness to them, and I wanted New York to be the total opposite. I wanted it to be like that, like dark, moody, bitchy, like power woman, going to get a martini at the bar after work, and then coming home and like kicking off her black stilettos and lighting a candle, and watching TV, and then like running her company in the morning. I feel like the candle, it was inspired by so many of my favorite luxury hotels in New York. There's something so sophisticated and traditional and cool about a lot of the properties that I love. And so I wanted to create a scent that was like what you would associate with all of these hotels.
And the fact that it's a black vessel and then Miami is white, we have like a good yin and yang moment happening, which I love. So yeah, there's continuity. There's so many different places we can go with this. I know you and I have a bajillion ideas, and thank goodness we have Matt in the picture to like rein it in, because otherwise we would just be going crazy. But talk to us about where your big visions for Hotel Lobby Candle, without giving too much away, where you think you want to go next. Like, again, it's an infinity idea. I feel like we're going on vacation every time we start something new.
We have so many exciting ideas. I'm actually sitting on the other side of the screen in front of a lot of them. And I cannot wait for them to come to fruition. I think some of these are things that we have been marinating and working on for over a year, but the same way I am kind of steadfast in all of the products that we launch, I will not launch something until it is like chef's kiss perfect. Because that's just sort of, I think for us and a brand that's new, I think it is so important for us to just hit it out of the park every time as much as possible. And so I can't really get into exact details about what we're launching, but there's some new scents coming this summer. There's some new products launching. TBD until we get it perfect. But there are some cool new things in the works that are different than Hotel Lobby Candle's ever done before. So I will say that.
Super exciting. The fun question I've been asking everyone this season on the podcast, because mostly it's a TikTok trend and I love it, is what is in and what is out for 2023. So kind of rapid fire. It could either be yourself, it could be for Hotel Lobby Candle, it could be just in general. What are things that are absolutely in, like you can't wait to embrace, and what's something that you are happy to leave in the past?
Okay, what's in is burning your fancy candles. What French fries and a martini for dinner. Traveling on a whim last minute and not telling anyone where you're going. I would say, you know what's in? Dressing for yourself and not because what other people think is cool.
Love that one.
I'm really focusing on what's in. What's out is,
what are we leaving in the dust? Like it would be totally fine if I never had to do that again.
Oh God. Back-to-back Zoom calls.
Hey, there you go. Shipping delays.
Shipping delays. Oh God, I feel like I could probably think of 8 billion things, but I don't know. Too on the spot.
Those are good ones. Yeah. Mine's screen time. I'm trying to cut down on my screen time. My unnecessary screen time. It's part of the job, but it's a good goal to have. But yeah, good stuff. Amazing. Well, where can everyone find, follow, connect, buy a Hotel Lobby Candle? Plug us with all the links.
Okay, so we're sold on hotellobbycandle.com, and you can follow us on Instagram at Hotel Lobby Candle. We're also sold at select Neiman Marcus stores and neimanmarcus.com, and then you can follow me at Lindsay Silb on Instagram, TikTok, and I also have a blog, lindsaysilberman.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for running through that whole thing. And hopefully we don't wait another 2 years before the next one, so we can let people more in on the process and behind the scenes. And really, following on hotellobbycandle.com, you'll see a lot of our handiwork and some teases for some upcoming stuff. Cool. Thanks so much. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.